quick reminder. Your awareness is the light of the world, right? Consciousness is everything. I am is the power. I am that. I am. That awareness, that consciousness that you have is mirrored in your 3D experience. In order to see reflected in the 3D what we want to experience in the 3D, we must first imagine that in our imagination, in our awareness, or in our consciousness. Be that in awareness. Be that in consciousness. Be that in your imagination first. All right? Because our true selves is awareness. That's what we are. All right? And in order to be, do, or have anything, we must first be conscious in imagination, in awareness, in spirit, in already being, doing, or having that which we desire to be, do, have, to be, do, or have. So in other words, our 3D world is the effect, and the cause of the 3D world is awareness, is consciousness. Consciousness is our imagination, the things that we are imagining. So what we must remember is to not react to the 3D experiences, the circumstances that we see, or that that appears that we are seeing on the outside. Because according to science, there is no outside. Everything comes from within, right? So once we understand that everything comes from within, we must first deliberately and consciously create our life from within our imagination, right? And to do this, what I'm finding is we don't do it from a logical standpoint, from an egoic standpoint. We first must know that consciousness or awareness or our I amness, that is our true self. That is our higher self. That is God. So in other words, your consciousness, your awareness, your I amness is what we call, or some people call, God. So you are in fact creating your own 3D experience through your thoughts, your imaginal acts, your consciousness, and your awareness of being. So choose the highest version of yourself, your I amness, your consciousness, your awareness. Choose that expression of yourself to choose and create what you want to experience. And what you choose and create in your imagination as your real self will be reflected in your 3D experiences. And once again, we got to be very careful not to react or not to put any energy on the 3D, especially if it's showing us a 3D experience that we do not desire. Because we must remember, what you do inwardly is the cause, and that 3D is the effect. So we don't work with the effect. In order to change our lives, we change it from the inside out, because the 3D is just a mirror reflecting what we are doing in our consciousness, in our imagination, in our awareness. The 3D reflects our thoughts, beliefs, either consciously or unconsciously. The 3D is just a mirror showing us what we are doing inwardly. All right? So I just want to come over here and share that real quick and to remind us to create from the inside out. Because, I mean, to be consciously and deliberately creating from the inside out. And don't put any energy towards anything on the so-called outside that you don't want to experience. Go within and change everything from the inside out. And the outside must reflect the change. Also, another quick tip. The reason that this is possible and it's this way is because there's no past, there's no future. Everything exists in the present moment, in the now. There's infinite states of possibilities. So we simply choose the state that we desire to experience. And we put our light, our awareness, our consciousness, our imagination that we are now in that state. Because in fact, we are. Anytime we think and put our consciousness or our awareness or our I amness through feelings or thoughts, we are experiencing